Hi, I'm Paula B, and I'm sitting with Mr. Norman Connors. How are you today?
I'm wonderful.
Good. I read your bio. Found some fascinating information about you. That you've been playing the drums and writing music since you were 5 years old. You are currently celebrating 40 years of being a recording artist. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Miles Davis is one of your heroes.
Yeah, my mentor.
Your mentor, okay. And tell me about the time that you snuck into the club at 16 years old when you had a chance to play with John Coltrane.
Well, I didn't sneak in the club to play with John Coltrane.
Okay. That's what I read.
I was called by the people who owned the club.
Oh, okay.
There was a club called Peps in Philadelphia, and I knew the owners. And I used to come to a lot of the matinee shows. They used to let me in. I was underage. But they used to let me in because I was a musician, and I would sit in with some of the people on Saturdays because they would come in for 6 days and have a Saturday matinee.
Okay.
So Saturday matinee, I got a chance to see them and play with a lot of the people, a lot of the artists.
So you can tell me some of the artists that you played with?
I sat in with Cannonball Adderley. I sat in with Hart Silver. I sat in with West Hand Roland Kirk. I sat in with Max Roach.
Okay.
And I sat with someone else. I can't think of the name of it. But I sat with quite a few people, and I knew all of them because I met them so young, and I was like very inquisitive and picked their brains, and what I mean. I was like that kind of guy, and I was so young, so they took to me.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask you. Did they take to you, or did they tease you? Or
Yeah. As a matter of fact, when I met Miles, I was 13. I was dressed like him because my mother used to work at a exclusive men's manufacturer, and so I was wearing all these GQ clothes at a very young age, living in the projects of North Philly. And I grew up right down the street from Bill Cosby. And I was in and out of his house playing with his younger brothers. And Bill was one of my heroes when I was in the projects young because he was an excellent athlete.
Okay.
Yeah. And at that time I was interested in baseball and football, and I played football in junior high school and high school. And I was a football player. At one time I thought I wanted to be a pro football player.
Really?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I wanted to be a doctor, a football player, and a musician all in. I thought I could do all three. But I had to let the others go. And I convinced my first wife, who's the girl on my Starship album, Rosa, that's my first wife. I convinced her she was a dancer, and she danced with me, and she danced with Chuck Davis Dance Company and the African Ballet and all that. And I convinced her to be a doctor. Now she's a big-time doctor.
Oh my goodness!
Because I said, why don't you be the doctor that I can be? Because I was just so far into music. When I was playing football and I was getting hurt, I was playing football at Temple. I played in high school. I was a football star. And I was getting hurt. So I cut that loose and moved to New York at 17. And I got a full scholarship to Juilliard. So my music thing I was just so into the music.
How was your experience at Juilliard?
It was a great experience. Well, at that particular time when I was going to Juilliard, they didn't have no jazz programs, so everything was classical. And a lot of my professors, and I used to always go down to the village to be with the jazz guys, right? And they found out, they said, "You can't go down, it's dangerous down there." I said, "No, it's not." I said, I'm having a good time. They said, "You don't need to play that kind of music," and they didn't want me to do that. They want me to stay classical and be this classical player. And I used to play timpani drums in the orchestra at Juilliard. So, and I studied composition and percussion. And so it was a great experience to get that side of it. And the other side I got from private teachers and being around some of the greatest musicians in the world.
And you were around a lot of great musicians. Now, I've read also that you have nurtured a lot of musical artists, and one of my favorites was Phyllis Hyman. Could you tell me a little bit about Phyllis?
Well, I was in New York performing, and at that particular time I had Gene Carn. Gene Carn was my vocalist, and before Gene it was Dee Dee Bridgewater, and And I had I had done maybe 5 records up to that time. I was on my 5th album. And I had gotten a hit with Gene and Michael Henderson called Valentine Love. Went top 10.
I love that song.
Yeah, and it crossed over into R&B and all of that. So, and all my records, my jazz album was going #1 and top 10 on #1 jazz album. So I was established. So when Phyllis moved to New York, someone called me and heard her one night. They called me and said, "There's a singer that just came in town. I think you need to go check her out. She sounds like somebody that needs to be with you." So I went, took a cab up to a place called Russ Brown's, where she was singing. And I heard her sing 5 songs. I said, "That's it." So when Phyllis came off, I told her, I said, "I'm going to take you in the studio." She said, "Oh, everybody tells me that." So I told Michael Henderson, I said, "Mike, I got this singer. When we go do this You Are My Starship album, I got the singer." Michael said, "Oh, no, I got the singer in Detroit." I said, "No, Mike, I got the singer." So anyway, I took Phyllis in, and we did the Betcha Golly Wow, and she did a duet with Michael, Take Me, I'm Your, We Both Need Each Other. And she did a Onaji Allen Gum song, a up-tempo samba song. And from that point on, the rest is history.
Yes, because Phyllis Hyman is amazing, and I listened to Bet You Back Golly Wild today, and it just brought me all the way back.
Yeah.
I mean, and
it still sounds modern. It still sounds good.
It sounds amazing, and
they play it forever.
Yes, they play it forever. I mean, that's a song that's like never this endless. And I used to always think that I was like Phyllis Hyman, and I would go around singing the song, tearing it up, of course. But I played it 5 times today. It was just that great. It was just that great. And now, music is your first love, and you're celebrating your 40 years of being a recording artist. And in this music business that's constantly changing, what is your secret of success for 40 years being in the business?
Well, 40 years is how long I've been recording myself. I was in the business since I played with Billy Paul when I was 13. So I was playing for a long time. As a youngster, I used to sit by the phone in Philadelphia, and wait for the phone to ring every weekend to work with some. Philly always has some great musicians, and I would work with some of these great people every weekend. And I was like a teenager. I was like 13, 14 years old, working with some great people. So when I got 16 and 17, I was very advanced. I was more advanced than I thought I was. And when I moved to New York, I was more advanced than I thought I was. So it's all beautiful. One of the reasons why people used to ask me where did I get my production chops, and it came from seeing great people like Duke Ellington and Count Basie and Lionel Hampton and Nat King Cole and Sammy Davis Jr. and his father and uncle and Billy Eckstine and Ella Fitzgerald and Sarah Vaughan. I seen all these people when I was a kid. I used to take my drum lessons and piano lessons and go to the Earl Theater and see all these great people. I sit in the front seat, see a Tarzan movie at first, and that would go off, and then the curtains would close and get dark, and then I'd be in this front seat, and out would come Duke Ellington, leading this big band. And when I saw that, I said, "Oh wow, I want to be just like that." And then at the end of his show, the singer would come out in a gown. That's where I got it from. I said, I'm going to be just like that. Dapper. I mean, he was just beautiful. And then when I seen Miles Davis, that was it. I said,
that was it.
I said, when I met him when I was 13, and I was dressed just like him. I had a double-breasted chalk striped suit that my mother had brought from work. They used to give my mother the samples for free.
Okay.
And I had this double-breasted chalk striped suit, black patent leather pants, and a white silk scarf. And I walked up to Miles Davis. I said, "Mr. Davis, my name is Norman Connors. I had my drumsticks in my hand. I was 13. I said, and I would like to play with you." And he looked at me and says, And he went to the guys, the band, and said, look at this. And when I was 13, I looked about 10, 11. And he just couldn't believe it. I mean, I didn't get a chance to play with him, but we were friends from that point on. And he used to call me Little Philly. A lot of those guys, they used to call me Little Philly. So when I moved to New York, he said, Little Philly, you live in New York now? I said, yeah. He said, well, come by the house anytime you want. So I used to go by Miles' house every day.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I used to go by there and we would walk up Broadway and do this and do that. He was like a guide to me. John Coltrane, too. But it was a big difference between Miles and John, not in talent. I mean, talent, they were both great. But John didn't talk that much. And I used to go to his house all the way in Long Island. And Miles was right there on 88th and right off of Broadway. Between Broadway and West End. They named the street after him about 2 months ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is totally amazing.
So I learned a lot from him, just being with him and going with him to his gym where he boxed. He could have been a champion boxer.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. And how hard it might seem, or how way out it might be, and no matter what people are telling you, if you love it, just love what you do and do what you love. That's first. Always get an education, always keep studying, never stop studying, never stop practicing, do that forever, even if you're 80 years old. If you're 8 to 80, study and practice and keep on trying to get better. And always try to please your audience and look at them and make sure you could try to capture everybody that, if you see somebody that you're not getting to them, do something to get to them.
How do you feel about the music today?
Well, the standards are down. When I was coming up, you had everybody. You had everybody from Nat King Cole to people like Johnny Mathis, Aretha Franklin, Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles. I mean, you had all these great people. I mean, couldn't get no, and everybody were doing their own thing, and everybody had their own sound, and you had all these great people. A lot of greatness. Now it ain't like that. I'm not saying that you don't have some great people now, but the standards are not the same.
I don't think that, like, you're legendary, iconic, like when you're celebrating 40 years, but you've been in the business a lot longer than that. I don't think the artists of today are going to have that stamina to be around for 40 years. What do you think about that?
Well, a lot of the artists I see today, they have the same sound. They use the same, it's not enough originality to me. And a lot of them, they're not getting the education that we had. You know what I mean? They're not trying to study. All they think about is, I just want to be a star. Well, wanting to be a star, what is that? What is a star? I mean, getting on a stage and playing to a large room, or thousands of people, or hundreds of people, whatever. Is that? I mean, I don't know what do you mean by being a star? We didn't necessarily want to be a star. We always wanted to be a great artist. And if you're a great artist, you last forever. Stars come and go. I mean, you could be a star for as long as you have a hit song. When you don't have no hit song, you're not a star no more. What is that? But if you're a great artist, whether you got a hit or no hit, you'll be forever. Because you got it. You just got it like that. You can do anything you want.
And I think that's the key.
That's the key.
Being a great artist.
Being a great artist and studying and being a great artist, right?
Because my dad, like I told you earlier, my dad was a musician. He was a saxophonist. I mean, he had to start off playing the clarinet that he didn't like. But he taught him his own self how to read music. He had an opportunity to sit with Jack McLean as well. But he studied all the time. He practiced all the time.
Got to. Yeah, I was the same way. They used used to call me, Norman, he's an intellectual. I used to practice and study. I'd be studying and practicing, don't say nothing to nobody. I go watch Miles, Art Blakey, and I go watch all my heroes. And I just sit up there and I'd be just like this. And people were saying, why's that guy, what's wrong with him? And I'd be studying, I'd be like, just concentrating on everything they do, their movement, their dress, the way they treat each other, the way they treat the people in the audience. I mean, I'll be studying all of that. So that's me.
So how do you feel that your audience base is still so broad, so large? How does that make you feel?
That makes me feel great because I sold millions of records. So my audience is wide, And I'm not selling millions of records now, but I sold them and it's out there. So I hope that everything's going to always be all right. I'll always be able to work. I can always at least work 25, 30, 40 gigs a year. Always, forever. As long as I'm living. That's just the way it is.
And you're on tour now and...
I'm on tour now. I'm doing my 40-year anniversary tour. And we play everywhere. I mean, certain places we repeat. We play, I have a big audience in Washington, D.C., one of the biggest. Baltimore area. New York, of course. Philadelphia, my hometown. Atlanta. We went to Atlanta 3 times last year. Chicago, Detroit, Columbus, Ohio, Dayton, Ohio, all Ohio's, Cleveland, San Francisco, Oakland, San Diego. We were just out there last month. New Orleans, Texas, Houston, Dallas. I got big audiences in all these places. They love me. So, and I love them. They love me. So I'll keep on playing to them and keep on feeding them my music. And I'm still creative. And I'm working on a 40th anniversary CD as we speak. And I wrote a book. And I'm finishing my book. My book will come out next year.
Okay.
My life story. And that's it. And everything that I set out to do, I do. I've done.
And I'm going to give you a word. Just tell me the first thing that pops into your mind, okay?
All right.
Determination.
Son, I have an older son in his 30s. He just graduated from USC. He's a doctor now. But my youngest son, the newcomers, determination. He's in on all these electronic toys and all these different things. And he plays trumpet in a school band. And I told him he needs to practice. He needs to practice more. And I practice 8 and 10 hours a day. And he said, Dad, I'm not going to do that. I spend a lot of time on the computer and a lot of time on these electronics, and I put some time into the horn. He said, things are not like they. When you came up, things are different now. He said, this is the electronic age. He said, when you came up, that's all you did is practice your instrument. He said, you didn't have all these great distractions. He told me this. He said, that's why I don't practice the horn 8 and 10 hours a day. I do all these other things because that's what kind of era we're in. Mm-hmm. So I stepped back and I listened. I thought about it. And I said, he's right. I'm not gonna put no pressure on him. So when you say determination, I thought about him. He's determined. He's a great kid and he does everything. He does all these things, but I did one thing.
And the reason why I picked that word for you, determination, because after reading your bio, everything that was in there from the age of 5 to now, you were determined. You had a lot of determination to be great. And you are absolutely great to me. You're a genius producer. I think that you have the Midas touch, and you're golden, and you can't be duplicated.
Well, I do the best I can. And I'm just myself. And the key to me is my mother. I had a great mother. My mother was just I mean, she was. If I could be half of what she is or what she was when she passed away, I'll be a great man. My mother.
Your mother.
Yeah.
What a way to end this segment. Talking about your mom. I mean, and that's the reason why you're here, because of your mother.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she gave me everything. I was the only child.
Okay.
And she just gave me everything. And she taught me values. Said if you can't be good to a woman, don't do anything. Don't mess with her. She would teach me all kinds of great things. That's the way my mother was.
So she gave you some great stuff.
And she didn't tolerate. I used to get beatings when I was real young. When I used to clean her house up, she'd go to work, and I had her whole house spick and span, and she'd give me a nice allowance.
Okay.
I said, okay, that's good, right?
Yeah, that's good.
So she didn't have to work at the house or nothing because she worked so hard on her job.
Okay.
And I always appreciated her. I knew we didn't have a whole lot of money. And my father, he cut out when I was 5. When I was 5 years old, and him and my mother broke up then. And my mother married again, and we moved out of the projects and moved into a nice home in New Jersey. So I got a chance to see the ghetto. The ghetto then. The ghetto then is not like the ghetto now.
Right.
And I got a chance to live that ghetto life, which is a real good life back then. And then I got a chance to live that life with the big home and the cars and my mother eventually got all of that and got me a new car. I had a sports car at 16 and I was real popular and playing football and playing music and had a lot of girlfriends and everything, So, and the most important thing with me is I met all these great people. All the great musicians that I met is just, that's so valuable to me.
That is.
And I'm so blessed.
That is a blessing, because it's a rarity that people get an opportunity to have that type of experience that you had. Because today, I was speaking to another artist. Once an artist gets in and they make it and they're successful, they seem to forget about the next guy. But in your era, it wasn't like that.
No, and a lot of those guys, they shared a lot of their knowledge with me, and I do the same thing. When I see younger guys and everything, I try to help them. I say certain things to them. A lot of them got egos, and it's kind of hard to. But I understand that. And sometimes the more talented they are, the more it's harder to work with them. You know what I mean? But I understand that too. So I try to understand all of it. That's what makes me a better producer, a good producer. Being able to weigh out all to try to bring everything together and to even the playing field.
Well, it was very nice speaking with you. Thanks so much for taking time out of your busy day to hang out with me. I enjoyed you. I am one of your biggest fans.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you.
One of your biggest fans, and I admire you. And I think that you're just a legend in my book, because your music is great. Your story is fantastic, and you do have still a lot to offer. You do have a huge fan base, and we just really appreciate you.
Oh, and one more thing, right now I have a great band. It's been with me about a couple of years now. I've always had great bands, and I had people from Marion Meadows and Jock Burvick, and my man Duke Jones is with me still, and I always had great people in my band, and always had great people that I recorded, like the Bobby Lowes and the McKinley Jacksons as arrangers, and Paul Risers, and all these great people. And I have a great band now, and the nice thing about now is where we are. We're in Virginia Beach, and the band I have now, they're all from Virginia, and they all went to Norfolk State. They studied at Norfolk State together, so they have a big history together, playing with each other for years. So when people see us, it sounds like they've been with me for 20 years. And the girl, her name is Theonita Valentin, and she's from here. My bass player, his name is Michael Ely. He's the bass player. He's from here. Termite, keyboard player. You know Termite, right?
I do know Termite. Mm-hmm.
Well, wait you hear Termite with us and now. And our drummer, his name is Kelly. So they're just great. So I'm getting ready to put them on my new CD.
Okay.
They need to be recorded because every show we do, they just turn it out. So it's time for them to be on a record.
Well, I'm excited about Sunday because they're going to be turning it up,
We're going to turn it up and turn it out.
Turn it up and turn it out.
That's
and I'm
right.
excited. And I look forward to Sunday.
Yep.
To listen to some of the old school and some of the new stuff that you're going to be doing.
Some of the new stuff and a lot of the old stuff. From Starship to Best Rap Valley. We probably do a tribute to Phyllis. We do 2 or 3 songs on her. And we do some of the new stuff that I'm going to record. And we do all my hits.
And you have a lot of hits.
I've got quite a few.
You got quite a few hits.
Yeah.
You got quite a few hits.
So we're going to do all of that and have a good time. And give these guys a chance to show up in front of their friends and families and stuff that they've been around for years. So that's all good. And it makes me feel great. When they get recognition, it makes me feel good.
Absolutely.
I've always been like that. From the Norman Browns to the Phyllis Hymans to the Gene Carnes to the Angela Bofields to the Dee Dee Bridgewaters to these new people.
And you have given a lot of people a lot of opportunity to spread their wings and to be successful.
That's where I am.
And they have been successful.
Oh, I love it. When they're successful, I'm successful.
Absolutely.
That's how I feel.
Absolutely. And once again,